I got to check out the game Marsh Hallow, which technically isn't even out yet, and I had so much fun with this game. It's puzzly, it's challenging. Let me tell you all about it. This is a cooperative flip and write game for 1 to 4 players, where players become Marshall the Marshmallow, who's looking for his family because they have been sucked into a cult who has basically convinced them to roast themselves for their ancestors. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to be dealt 3 of these cards that have a marshmallow in them, and those are going to be your 3 family members. You will circle them on your player mat, and then you decide which one you're going to save first, and you cover it with one of the shapes on its card. The other 2 cards go back into the deck, and once everybody's cards are back in the deck, you shuffle that up, deal out 17 cards, and those are going to be the remaining 17 rounds you have to find your other family members, make it to the steps of the pyre, and control the intensity of the fire and save up enough water so that you can put it out at the end. And which family member you save first is going to be an important part of your strategy, because this is where you're going to start, and every single shape that you draw onto your map after this one is going to have to be touching this, but at a diagonal. For each of the following rounds, a card is going to be drawn from the top of the deck, which is in a tuck box, so you can't see what's coming up next because these are translucent cards. But they're going to show 2 shapes each. These represent animals that are coming to Marshall's aid along his journey, and you need to decide which shape you want to use and where it's going to go, but it has to be touching something that's already on your map at a diagonal, like I said. So I added this triangle plus square diagonal shape to my original 3 diagonals here. I don't know what these shapes would be called, but you see it's touching at a diagonal and not along like a long edge. That's a no-no. You might notice there are a lot of marshmallows out on this map doing stuff who aren't your designated family members who you circled at the beginning. What are those guys doing? Well, most of these guys who are just randomly out, who could be potential family members in other games, they're just going to be there to kind of impede your journey, because if you cover any marshmallows out on your map, you have to spend a water, and water is pretty tight. You can see you only start with 4. So you're gonna wanna avoid covering these random guys out here. But these guys surrounding these flowers, these are the mallow monks. These are the zealots of the cult. And what they're doing right here is stoking the flames. There are 4 of these flowers around your map, and for each one that has a full set of 4 around it doing their zealot stuff, you're going to get 5 points on your pyre intensity track at the end of every round. But if you manage to cover even one of these mallow monks in their meditation circle, then you have disturbed their meditation circle, and they're not worth 5 anymore. Then they are just worth 1 petal each on your pyre intensity track. So covering those guys up is definitely going to be worth spending water, because if it makes it too far around on this pyre intensity track, it's going to be very hard to beat back at the end. You've also got other things out on the map that you're going to be interacting with that will help you, like ponds will fill up your squirt guns, slingshots can help your fellow players because this is cooperative. You've also got tents that will give you different benefits, like water balloons. Some of the shapes on these cards get pretty complicated. That's why they're translucent. So you could just grab the card and move it around on your map so you can figure out exactly where it's going to fit and draw it correctly. At the end of the final round, it's time to see if players won the game. Each player has to individually rescue all 3 of their family members and make it to at least 1 step at the base of the pyre. And then players need to see if they have enough water remaining to beat back the pyre, depending on how far the pyre got along the pyre intensity track. First, players will do a quick calculation based on their individual pyre intensity track and how much water they individually have left over. They'll take that number and combine it with all other players, and if that result is a positive number, then players won the game. And trust me, it's harder than it sounds.